Swainson's franklin. And you can see it has a red neck and a red face. Not unlike the red-necked franklin, which also has a red face and a red neck. But it also has very obviously red legs. Now, why you wouldn't call that bird the red-legged franklin or spurfowl as opposed to the red-necked franklin when it shares that feature with the Swainsons, well, that's just ridiculous, frankly. And it's a bit like my favorite bugbear with the ornithologists, the black-collared barbet, whose most obvious feature, of course, is his bright red head. Yes. See? Why would you call that bird a black-collared barbet when clearly its most obvious feature is the fact that it looks like it's had its head buried in a bottle of ketchup? Who knows? Many such examples there are in the world of ornithology. Kirsten, I am afraid now I'm not hearing you at all. So if you need us to link, you're going to have to click twice. Okay? There is a great group of hornbills there. Yellow-billed hornbills. Oh, and we had such a wonderful sighting today of one of the yellow-billed hornbill's favorite foods, and that is the flat-necked chameleon. Incredible sighting of a flat-necked chameleon today on our way back from playing touch rugby, the results of which I shall not tell you because it's embarrassing. But these chaps are one of the few birds that will specialize in eating flat-necked chameleons. That's a youngster. His bill isn't quite at full size yet. He was probably born sometime during the summertime. He just has that look about him, doesn't he, like a naughty kid. Ah, it's a great view of a yellow-billed hornbill. How skinny his neck is, that's also quite indicative, I suppose, of his young age. Fluffed his feathers out. It's a bit cold for him. I always feel a bit sorry for these birds as they go into their first winters, not knowing what to expect. That is a fantastic picture of this bird. Hey, look at that. You can also see when he opens his beak at this distance, you can see that it's not quite toothed, but it's not smooth. And well, that's probably got something to do with what he eats. So I mean, I'm sure that sharpness on the sort of edges of the bill breaks when he eats hard food. I think you'll probably find that it's quite useful, a little bit like a serrated blade. So it's just the beak's not quite flush on itself. The top and bottom mandibles just not quite flush, and I'm sure that enables them to use the beak a little bit like teeth for chewing. This is one of the best yellow-billed hornbill sightings you'll ever have. Also preening. Now, despite the fact that that bill looks like a horn, and it looks, seems, where's he found a little grub there, I think. Found a little grub underneath the bark. That bill, despite the fact that it looks sort of, I mean, it is very hard, but it's also extremely sensitive and extremely accurate. He's eating bits and he's eating bark. Yeah?
Looks like it.
A bark-eating hornbill. Very strange. Maybe he was eating it for his gizzard. There goes the pearl-spotted owl. Two of them. Marvelous. Right, I'll tell you my story about the Swainson's franklin now. I was living in Johannesburg for quite a long time. Well, I grew up there, but then I went to the bush and then I went back to Johannesburg to teach the guitar to the ungrateful children of the rich. That's not strictly true. I just like to say that because I was one of those children, of course, at one stage of my life. Not that the rich part of it was. No, let me stop there. Anyway, I was in Johannesburg, and it wasn't a place of wilderness. There were a whole lot of wonderful kudu in front of us. There's the male with his harem. Oh, Viam, quickly to the right. Ground hornbill. Fantastic, yet again. We've seen these ground hornbills every single time we've come here. Now, I've never noticed this before, and we had a question while we were driving home the other day about the open-billed stork and whether we get it here, and I showed you a picture, and I said it's the only bird that has an open bill. I lied. There is a bird with an open bill. I've never noticed that before. See the gap between the front and the top and the bottom mandible. Let's just sneak a little bit forward. I will tell you my Swainson's Franklin story. I know you're all champing at the bit to hear it. There's another one, way across the clearing there. I'm just going to get round this bush, and then you'll be able to see it. You can already see it. That's because, of course, we are now in the plains of Cheetah Plains. There we go. Now, I have to tell you, they haven't let us get this close to them before. There you can see the extent of that bird. He stands about 3 feet tall. He's probably 3.5 feet long from the beak tip to the tail tip, but he does stand 3 feet off the ground. He's very elegant walking there. And Cecilia, yes, you're absolutely correct. Beak and bill do mean the same thing. They're used interchangeably. I'm not sure of the etymology of either word, I'm afraid. But, yeah, you can use them interchangeably. He's looking under some elephant dung there to see what he can find. And again, despite the fact that that is a sort of chisel-like beak, he is able to pick up individual termites. I think that's just what he's picked up now. He'll have to eat many, many termites to satiate his stomach. Oh, itchy beak. This is a wonderful, wonderful sighting. Now, we might also be able to tell whether that's a male or female, and you tell that, of course, by the blue that occurs in the middle of those red wattles underneath the beak. Let's see if we can get a better look there. Every day there's a Twitter handle highlight. It's the female who has the blue patch there, by the way, so we'll have a look at whether that one does or not. Or busted. Yes, I think that is the Twitter handle name that I heard. You are interested in whether or not these birds nest in bushes or where they nest. They don't nest in bushes or busted, and it's one of the main reasons that they are endangered like they are. They nest in tree holes. And the only way that they're able to nest in tree holes is to obviously find an enormous tree with a big hole in it. And those are few and far between out here. Jackalberry trees and scotia trees would be two examples of those kinds of trees. And you find them in protected areas, but outside of protected areas you hardly find them at all. And also, they reckon that in a place like the Sabi Sands, where there is so much water, the elephant concentrations are probably that much higher, and so they push over quite a few of the larger trees that might suffice for a ground hornbill. This is wonderful. I can actually see 3 of them now, Viam. There's another one just through. Could you see this kind of bush behind us. There, go, yep, there you are. There he is. And then the other one is where we showed it to you a little earlier. And the last time that I was here, it was just this flock of 3. And I wonder, ooh, let's quickly turn around. I wonder if it's the same one, because Brent was here 2 days ago and he saw 5 of them together. Just because I showed you leopard cubs, you have to film the sunset today. Okay.
But then you owe me quarantine as well.
Okay, deal. Oh, and Kirsten says there were 6 ground hornbills here the other day. So maybe this flock is larger than we think it is. There, everybody, is the glorious Sunday sunset. Basking as we are in the light of the golden sun and the joy of Karula's little baby cubs. The prince and princess, who I think we should name George and Charlotte. That, of course, will be vetoed by anybody with any sense. James Richard, precisely, you say, from elation to sudden grief, that is nature in a nutshell. It is. And there's that quote I've used before of David White's where he says, the wilderness will just as soon kill you as it will look after you. It is ambivalent. It is full of life and joy and wonderment and terror and death at the same time. And I think that's why we love it so much. Not so, Viam. Alrighty, let's continue down to the south before it gets a little bit dark. We'll get a good look at the main plains of Cheetah. Right, now the Swainson's-Franklin story, in case if we probably see ostriches and cheetah before I get it done. But what I used to do on a Thursday afternoon, I would go off to the golf club at 3:30 in the afternoon and play 9 holes on my own. I played on my own for 2 reasons. One, I'm an absolutely horrendous golfer and therefore struggle to find anybody patient enough to play with me. Secondly, it was very nice to just have some lone time after I'd been teaching children to play the guitar all day. So I'd go out into the golf course, and by that stage, of course, there's hardly anyone around. And one winter's evening, it was cold, the sun had just gone down, it was late winter, so it was just about the time that, the first tongues of spring were starting to touch the night, but it was still chilly. And the sun had gone down, and I was going up the 9th fairway, and it was unusual for me to be on the fairway at all, and it was dark. It was already almost dark because I'd teed off late, and so I was the last person on the whole course. There wasn't another person there, and I hit my second shot and obviously shanked it, and it went wide into the bushes, and so I went fossicking about in the bushes for it. And as I stood there, I stood up. I found the ball, I think, eventually, and I stood up to go and fetch a club that I might try and hit the ball out of the bushes. And suddenly I just stopped, and I breathed in and I inhaled because a scrub hare moved out. This is in the middle of Johannesburg, so I think Africa's second biggest city. Moved out of the bushes onto the fairway, and I watched it go, and then a Swainson's-Franklin came out of the bushes as well and started feeding. And it was the most wonderful touch of the wild in the midst of all the madness of Johannesburg. And I could just vaguely hear the traffic out sort of to my side, and I was cocooned in this little piece of wilderness. And it was a wonderful experience, and I always think of it when I see the Swainson's-Franklin. I think I shot about 10 shots for that one hole. That is a wildebeest. Now, Viam, you don't know this, of course, but you do know that Brent Leo Smith, aka Big Loud Sound, doesn't like to name animals. You know that, don't you? He thinks we shouldn't name animals. Do you know what he did the other day?
Named an animal?
He named that very animal there. He called it Gnorman the GNU. And he will never, ever, ever live it down.
He did name the one-horned impala as well.
Oh, that's exactly correct. He named the one-horned impala Nelson. Anyway,
He already named it Harvey.
Harvey. Did he call it Harvey?
No, that was the old name.
Oh, was that the
Changed
old
it.
one? Oh, he changed the name as well. Yeah, he's right into it then. So just try and absorb... Oh, there's some elephants. They're in Mala Mala, but we're going to look at them anyway. Before they go too far into Mala Mala. We do have the super zoom with us. Sorry, Gnorman. Gnorman looked up suddenly as if he was very hurt that he was no longer going to be on camera. Now the jackals we had were in these clearings the other day. Let's just quickly go and have a look at the lions while we try and get into a position to view these elephants.
Here we are sitting with the Birmingham males again. They, as you can see, all three of them are sitting up nice, close and tight together. There's one that is just slightly to the side of them, but have a look at them as they are wrapped in each other's arms. It's a very, very special thing to see. Look at the two paws that are wrapped around the male lion's head. They are such social animals, these lions. It's so cool to see that. They are ferocious animals, but when it comes to the love for their brothers, it's very, very strong. And it is sad to hear that they've lost a brother, but as we quite clearly had a conversation earlier about that circle of life that is very present. What comes will come back, and there will be a new line that will either take dominance, or these four boys will be able to look after themselves, protect their territory. And you can see they're very close as they hold on to each other's muzzles. What I've decided to do is with each one of them now, as we sit here, this could actually be the last time that I sit with these four. I said that yesterday, not the last time. I meant to say last time for a couple days. And so I just wanted to see if we could just sit with each of them and pick up some of the things that they have. So let's zoom in to the first one here. Let's have a look. So I've got my notebook here, and I'm taking notes on each of these lines. And the first thing that I'm noticing from this line is the darkish mane on top. He's got that blackish top, the black ears. If you are noting anything else, I'd love you to please hashtag Safari Live on each of these lines as we go through them. We can take our time with them, but I'm just writing down a few things in my notebook. If you think the one at the bottom of the screen, to the middle, or to the top, or to the left has any significant feature, please will you hashtag Safari Live, and I will write it in my book so that we can have a good understanding of the differences between these boys, because I really want to get to know them a bit better. So the first one, having a look, has got a dark mane on top. Just noting that. It has very blackish, dark ears. You can notice there that there is significant scarring all over his face. Have a look at those scars, and that would have come from any kind of dominant fights that they would have had. So I'm sure all of them have that scarring on their face. And it seems that this one has got a very... Have a look at that one just above his eye there. can see there that there is a strong scar there, so I'm going to write that down. Strong scar on upper eye. So let's move to the one just next to it. And there we go. Okay, so there's one that has a very pink nose. That's one that we can't see now, just to the right. There we go, to that nozzle. Look at that pink nozzle. And that often is because they're around 5 years. So he's probably the youngest one out of this coalition. The pink nose is a sign of youth. So one of them has a very significant lower pink nose. I'm going to call you Pink Nose for now, just so I remember you, because I want to try and understand a little bit more of each of them. Ooh, there he goes, rubs his brother. Check how close they are together. This is not something I've seen before, but they are really this close. So I've identified 2 features, significant features, on 2 of them. The one at the back over there, if you can see it, over there you can see that there is some dark mange on that one. So I've written down on that one, and he has got some significant black patches on him. He's got a dark upper body. So that's how we're going to get to know you. And have a look at that belly again. Very, very full. Seems that it's just eaten. So they would have eaten maybe just last night. So we've now made some good differences between them, and that's just, if you want to follow that, I can take a picture later of the notes that I've taken of all 4 of them. From the darker colors to the pink nose, and we can watch their progress over the next few months to see how they grow as a coalition of 4 rather than the coalition of 5. The one in the middle I can't really have a good visual on. He's wrapped by his brothers. He is fast asleep though. Have a look how fast asleep he is. So, thank you very much, Angie. You've just noted that the one with the pink nose is the youngest. Thank you, Angie, for noting that. They're starting to wake up a little bit, although their body posture doesn't show that. Look how cool that is. If you want to screenshot that, that's 4 male lions facing our direction. And the day is coming towards an end, and it seems that it's been a much cooler day, so there's every chance that these lions are going to get a little bit active than usual. Last night was a very, very hot night, and they only got up at around 6:30 is when they started walking. And because today is considerably cooler, it might change their behavior in such a way that it makes them get up. And we've noticed that there are buffaloes in the dam. So there is about 3 buffaloes that are sitting in that dam. So there's every chance that we might have some. But whilst they're still flat and we're taking notes on the different lions here, let's go see what James is doing.
James is up to putting his jersey on. Just make sure my microphone is in the usable place. Hello. There we go. Nothing on the plains except Gnorman. We did see an elephant and he disappeared into Mala Mala, so we left him and we're now patrolling the southern boundary of Cheetah Plains, and we'll shortly head back up towards the north. Nice to see those lions. They're sad that they are in mourning. Well, I'm not sure they are in mourning, but certainly we're a little bit in mourning, and it'd be nice to know which leopard, which lion that was. We'll find out from yours. I'm sure he took some photographs, and we'll also, as far as we can, get some information from the Sabi Sands as to how that lion died. There are some beefaloes. There's a herd of buffalo, everybody, moving up north into Cheetah Plains, very slowly and sedately, as is befitting a Sunday afternoon. And you will think it was indeed Scrapper that met his untimely demise on Biffle's Hook. I wonder if he wasn't eventually flattened by one of those Salati males, or both of them. There was a big fight there the other day. And James, you've got a question for me, James, about what we'll do with the lion. Well, we won't do anything with it, but you want to know if it will be disposed of or left to kind of be eaten by the scavengers. A lion, because of the diseases that there are out here, a dead lion is actually something of a biological or a research boon. So no, I don't think it'll be left there at all. I'm pretty sure they'll take it, they'll do an autopsy, they'll check on whether it's got TB, was the TB affecting it, all that sort of thing. So I don't think that they will leave the carcass there at all. I think that would be a waste of a research opportunity. This is the back end of this herd. The rest of them are just up ahead here. They're walking on the sort of fire break between Mala Mala and Cheetah Plains. Here we go, VM. They're about to come into view. How excited are you on a scale of 1 to 10 to film these buffalo? 5. Oh, shame. That cow is missing half a horn. And there are a whole lot more to the north of us that I can hear. She's got a very strange hairdo. And as somebody pointed out yesterday, I think it was Louise actually, she said to me, don't you think their horns look like different hairdos? And I have to agree with her. I think that's exactly what they look like. It gives them such a unique look. Well, they are heading towards the north. We are in Styx Pride territory. It would be so nice to see them again, especially as one of them, I think, has got some cubs. We've had a bit of a baby boom here of late. Shadow, Styx lionesses, Karula, 2 pregnant Nkahuma lionesses. We also had a fantastic sighting of a newborn buffalo the other day. Just listen to them scraping gently through the woodland. You hear their footfalls on the leaf litter. Just keep watching. There's a baby at the back of the herd who I don't think is long for this world. You will see why in about 1 minute. Yes, still us, same place you saw us. Yes, Haylene, I agree with you. While we wait for this little baby who's limping quite badly at the back there, you say that their horns look like Pippi Longstocking. They do a bit, and of course we have our own Pippi Longstocking in camp. Rebecca does her hair every so often in the manner of Pippi Longstocking. There you see limping. I wonder why. That's not good. A predator would realize that within seconds and target that little baby, and the others would do nothing about it. Well, they couldn't do anything about it. And sometimes, you know, if it isn't eaten by a predator before it recovers, the rest of the herd will just move on. If it can't keep up with the herd, they'll just carry on. They can't afford to hang around behind and wait. Anyway, they're all melting off into the woodland here. And I'm sure they're probably heading up towards Cheetah Plains Pan. in the clearings. Right, well, we're going to turn north up our next road and then head onto the northern boundary of Cheetah Plains and slowly start winding our way back towards Djuma. Liam was very impressed by the clearings. He's slightly distressed that I didn't find him a cheetah or quarantine, but you know, we might still find quarantine. I do wonder who that male leopard was that was seen on the dam wall earlier. And Lou de Lion, completely correct, of course. There's a peacefulness about the plains of Cheetah Plains, and it's good for the soul. It's the best for the soul. I agree with you completely. I'll just put some lights on so we can see into the bushes as the light starts to fade and another week comes to an end. Very fresh smell about the place. I think everything is going to smell fresh. The colours are going to feel brighter. The atmosphere is going to feel that much more relaxed and wonderful in the wake of that absolutely incredible sighting we had of Karula's little ones. Now, just on the naming of them, I'm being slightly facetious by calling them George and Charlotte, of course. The naming convention is basically that the rangers on whose property they were found will pick a name. Now, normally that only happens when the cubs are about to go independent or when they've reached a year old, and there's always great and, I have to say, fairly boring debate about who and why and what should, but we saw her as much as you did, so we should name her. And I mean, I find it all rather tiresome, but it normally only happens after about a year. Now, we're trying desperately to convince everybody that we should name them now, because why not? We're going to be viewing them, and you especially, our loyal viewers, who take such a wonderful interest in the animals out here, of course. Well, I'm pretty sure you'd want to name them before they're a year old. So that's the update there. The lions, I think, are starting to get moving. Let's go across to them.
So this lion who was on the back left has just come and walked right next to our car and literally gone to the toilet right next to us. He is awfully close to us right now, but we didn't move our car here. Well, we moved our car here, but he moved himself right next to our vehicle. So he's obviously very, very relaxed with being around the vehicle. That was on the top left, and I've already taken a note on the coloration of him. He had a very significant scar on the back. You can't see it, it's on the other side of his back, but I just noted it. And I've also noted that he's got this significant black little part mohawk, like a big black spot at the back here. So I think I'm getting to know you a little bit better, my brother. Getting to know the Birmingham boys here. And as I've said, it's cooler this evening. It's much colder than it has been in the last couple of days. And so these lions could very well be active in the next 20 minutes. And hopefully, if we are very, very lucky, we'll be able to hear their dominant calls around the bush. It is a magnificent thing to hear. Ooh, one's yawn. I just had a massive yawn. Henry's asking, how would a lion go about trying to get into an existing coalition? Well, Henry, it's all dependent on the size of the coalition. Some coalitions will accept a member. Oh, one's up. Hello. Just having a good stretch. As I've said, this could be the opportunity where they begin to start moving. This one has a big grey mark on the back. Can you on the front right there. Can you see that? Can you zoom up to his front right arm? There's a black patch there. And he was in the front there. Black patch. There he's off. We have one lion that's up and walking. This is great news. As predicted, they're starting to wake up. They're starting to yawn. The one in the distance is just scent marked. One's getting up. There we go. He's going to stretch, I think. Oof, this is fantastic. We're going to be following these boys. The property to the top of us is torchwood, so they very well might be leaving us now. But we're going to let them get up slowly but surely and not give them too much attention, just as we watch them walk ahead. Look there, they're about to send mark. That's the same bush that the first one sent marked on. There we go. Here comes the third one. I wonder if the third one will too. No. We've had, oh, there we go. So they're heading south, everyone. That's great news because that's still on our property. I'm going to head off and see if I can follow those ones. Hold on, everyone. We're going to go slowly through here. There's two vehicles that are here at the moment. I just have to update everyone with what they are doing. Stations, lions at Buffelshoek just got active. They've walked about 20 meters to the east towards the cut line, and no, they just got static now. Two stations currently at the Ngala lock. You can make your way. So what's currently happening is we've got 1, 2, 3 lions that have walked approximately 50 meters. And there's one that's just behind us that is still sleeping. And I'm pretty sure that lion is going to come and it's going to make its way towards us and walk around our vehicle. So we might just be sitting here for a little bit longer, probably about 5 minutes, I reckon, and then they're going to start heading north out of our property. Of course, I don't want them to head north away from us, but it would be quite interesting if they do stay on our property this evening. So I have no visual of the other one. Alice in Ohio has just asked me, will these Birmingham boys that are in front of us now be looking for their brother that has passed away? Well, I'm not too sure, Alice. I'm not too sure if they will go looking for their brother. I'm sure they will be finding out relatively soon that they have lost their brother. Otherwise, they could very well have already found that out. But we've just seen the other one has just come up the road and he's now parked off on the road just behind us. So if you're able to get a good shot of him there. It's right in front of the antenna. Hold on one second. Mia's asking us, will the adult males ever play? Here we go. We've got some action just in front of us with 2 male lions. They just played for a single second there. They bumped heads, and it was a nice bit of interaction that they just had with each other. I'm not going to move just because I feel that it's better if I stick to this position and let things unfold as they will around us. But yes, male lions will still play with each other. It's more in their youth that they will play with each other, purely because they are still learning how to use the different skills that they have, from pouncing to using their nails to all sorts of things. And playfulness will teach them many, many different things as they grow into their years. But as they grow older, that playfulness does kind of decrease. But there will always be moments where they will show aggression, or that may seem like aggression, but it's just them displaying dominance. And that form of dominance will help them strengthen their muscles and still be the powerful males that look after this reserve. Not this reserve, their territory. They will look after their territory. So we had a good little bit of action there. They got up a whole 20 meters and got out of here. There's the other one that's just beneath the tree there. So we're starting to learn a little bit more about these Birmingham boys. I've probably spent about 5 hours with them in the last three days. Very, very privileged. We would literally... While these lions are still all gone back to a very flat position, let's go and see how James, the Frodo Baggins, is doing.
Frodo is wandering about here, finding not very much, I have to tell you. While Samwise lurks around with the lions, we are driving through Cheetah Plains, not finding a great deal as the night has fallen. I have disappointed VM horribly. Well, yes, you were for a while, VM, but I was renamed Frodo by Sam.
We have Smeagol.
No, I'm not Smeagol. I will shine this in your face. Smeagol is a horrible character, not befitting someone of my sweet nature.
That's sweet.
I'm very sweet, VM. An extremely sweet person. You can't tell the viewers I'm not sweet. They're under the impression that butter would melt in my mouth. You see, this is the time of the day, everybody, when we start to talk utter nonsense, because there's nothing to show you of biological interest if nothing runs across the road or is seen in the bushes. There we go. And Dina, thank you very much. You've just disproven everything VM's ever said about me. You said you liked my sweet voice at the Karula Cub sighting. Thank you very much. And my excitement. I didn't have to put on any of that excitement. It was just so very, very exciting. Thank you, Dina, for that. Very kind compliment. See, VM?
I'll give the viewers.
No, you certainly can't. So one of the things that we sorted out, I mentioned earlier, was that we had a chameleon sighting, a midday chameleon sighting. Just spotted this bright green thing walking slightly strangely across the road and thought, that doesn't look like a leaf. And indeed it wasn't. It was a flat-necked chameleon. And we've had very few this year, I think on account of the drought. This is also obviously a very good time for you to ask any questions you have about Africa at large, the people of Africa perhaps, the different countries you might want to come to, And I think we've managed to clear up quite a few misconceptions over the last little while about the continent and the country that we live in. So if you have any questions like that, this is a great time to send them through in the absence of any kind of biological anomaly or interest. I would show you some trees, but they're not great at night time. James, you think I should write my own bird book and give them proper names, and I think it's a very good idea. And you also want to know what I would call a flamingo. I think I'd call a flamingo a long-necked pink. Pink should definitely be in the name. Neck should definitely be in the name. A long-necked pink wader. I think I'd call that's what it was. Long-necked pink wader. What would you call it, Vim? Vim normally has a one-liner for something like this, which might result.
Giant pink waterbird.
There we go, giant pink waterbird. We might lose signal with you here. I hope we don't. But if we do, I apologise. We'll get it back fairly soon. Ooh, there's a bunny. That is an enormous bunny, everyone. A huge scrub hare. Let me just turn the other light too, rather than the spotlight. There. It's a really nice sighting of a scrub hare. Let's just have a listen to the night. I'm going to be quiet for about 30 seconds. That strident whistling you can hear, that I think is a water dickhop or water thickney. It's at the Cheetah Plains camp. Probably they've got a pan there in front of the camp. And you can maybe hear the call of the fiery-necked nightjar going. But otherwise all is very quiet. You can see the last embers of the day there, just going down beyond the Cheetah Plains camp. That's the light there of Cheetah Plains. This is a lovely time of night. If you ever do come to the bush, everyone, it's a great time of the night to just sit and be quiet for a while. And in the camps, I remember when I used to work in a camp, it was always my favourite time of the night. If I wasn't out on game drive, I'd go and find a quiet spot, because the whole camp goes totally quiet. It's just like the animals do. The people tend to go totally quiet as well, just for a brief period before they get going for the kind of night activities that have to happen. On we go. Kirsten, I'm warning you, we may well lose signal. Is Samuel ready for a link, or shall I turn around? Okay, let's quickly go across to Sam. I'm going to get out of this dodgy signal area. We'll see you the other side.
So we are sitting here with the male lion that is grooming himself. We have two lions, just to the next, 3 lions next to us here. Look at that beautiful light that's on this lion as he grooms himself. That's a great shot. If you want to screenshot that, go for it. Hashtag Safari Live. Let us know what you think of this beautiful picture of this lion as it grooms itself this evening. And what it seems to, for me, have been the most eerie day. It's been a very eerie day. With the weather being quite cold. You know, yesterday was very hot, and today just suddenly got 10 degrees colder, put it that way. Expecting rain. You know, we saw leopard cubs. Well, I never got to see the leopard cubs, and I'm just so excited that you guys managed to see those leopard cubs. That must have been very special. Of course, tonight I'll go and have a look on all that feed to see those pictures, those screenshots that you all took. But I've had the privilege of spending a good fair amount of time with these Birminghams, and I feel like I know them a little bit better compared compared to what I knew them when I first met them at the beginning of the week. So they have eaten, so they might not be hungry, but we never know. They've been heading in a northerly direction. They walked approximately 50 meters. Ooh, here we go. That's exciting. Good little sneeze. And he's off. Is he going to get back down? What's he going to do? What are you up to, my man? And so the prediction is that they're going to get back down and have a rest. But they're going to head in a northerly direction, I reckon, towards Torchwood, and that will be the last time that we see of them. For a while. But who knows, we might just be lucky enough to see the Birmingham boys for another four days. That would be quite strange. I hadn't seen a male lion for 3 weeks since I got here. And I've seen one every single day, and I've not just seen one, I've seen all 4 of them. Debbie in Vancouver is asking, now that the coalition has moved from 5 to 4, will this affect their ability to look after their territory? It's a good question, Debbie. Yes, it will most definitely influence their ability to protect the territory, purely because they no longer have that extra bit of strength and power that they used to have. So the other lions that are now going to be around these properties will start to see some fracks in the system of their dominance, and they could potentially want to take over this land that these Birmingham boys are protecting at the moment. But 4 male lions is still a very, very strong coalition, and they're not that old, so they have still some strength in them. And I mean, to be honest, I still have to get to know them a bit better. I've never seen them feeding, I've never seen them on a kill, so there's lots that I still need to learn about this coalition of boys. But Debbie, it's without a doubt going to influence their ability to protect this land. So I wouldn't be surprised if we start hearing some loud roars over the next couple of days as they show their dominance over the land. What a feeling it was to wake up yesterday morning to the sound of a lion roar. That was not far away from our camp. It must have been about less than a kilometer. I heard them. I got into my clothes as quick as possible, got into the vehicle and went out and found them by Sydney's dam. And that's when we saw the hippo out of water, so we were very lucky to see a hippo out of water in the same shot as the Birmingham boys. But they've been resting here for most of the day. And I'm pretty sure they'll get going. Elaine from Michigan had such an interesting question, but I never managed to get the end of that. Chris, can you go back with that? So Elaine's question was, now that there's only 4 and not 5, will this increase the chance of these genes from these males to be passed on? Yes, of course, it will increase their chances of spreading the seed from themselves. You know, because now that it's 4, no longer 5. And every single coalition has its own dynamic, its own way in which it is. So, for example, one lion might be more dominant in the coalition compared to the others. And I mean, the example that I'll give is when I was at Londolozi, we had a coalition there where one of them was called dark mane, and he was a lot more dominant to the other males. So when it came to mating with other females, he used to spread his seed more than the others. So it is very possible that the other male lion, I don't know what his status was in the coalition, but he could have had a strong status, and that might give chance now for the other lions to have an opportunity to spread their seed. But these lions are not going anywhere at the moment. There's a bush baby. Let's go and see what the bush baby's up to.
Look, just sneaking out of his little tree hole. I suspect the hole just below him there is where he lives. A little bush baby peering at us from underneath the leaves of this large marula tree on the main access road out of Cheetah Plains. Isn't he sweet? We went past a herd of elephants. They were eating bushes, which is what they do. And we left them because it's dark now. And we're looking for nocturnal creatures of the night. And there is one of them, quite commonly seen, the bush babies. And as we go towards the dry season, and the foliage on the leaves, foliage on the trees, starts to fall off, so our sightings of things like bush babies will become more frequent. They're much easier to see, of course, when they aren't fossicking about for insects in the thick foliage. Isn't that sweet? Cool. Have you had enough of that one, Vim?
You need to find a closer one.
Okay. Right. Okay. What if we just get closer to this one?
Fair enough.
Oh, this one's jumping now. Look. Look, he's going to jump. Got him there, Vim. Watch. Go! That is so cool. You've all asked me or wondered, I'm sure, when I've said that they're like gummy bears. Well, there we are. That's why we say they're like gummy bears. You see the way they jump. Look, and in the background you can hear the pearl-spotted owl going. His thick tail there. Now that tail is very important for him because it enables him to change direction slightly in mid-air. I think it's also fairly prehensile, which means that he's able to use it like a monkey does, or like a spider monkey can, to hold on to the branch that he happens to be feeding off. But I also think it's so heavy at the back there so that if he wants to change direction slightly in the air, he can swing it from side to side. It won't act so much like a rudder than like a sort of counterbalance. That is the lesser bush baby. We get two species here. The thick-tailed I've yet to see here. Makes a horrendous blood-curdling sound like it's being murdered. That's its normal call. And this chap is almost silent. Now, I was asked last night if they are marsupials. And they are not marsupials. But the question is a valid one, and it's an interesting one because they move like marsupials. They hop, they don't run. And animals that need to conserve energy often hop. It's one of the things that many marsupials do. And they do it, well, there we go. They do it because it uses the natural elasticity in the ligaments and tendons and muscles. And you can actually, if you hop and you time the hopping correctly, like these things do, or like a kangaroo or a wallaby does, it's actually much more energy efficient than running. And so in Australia, for example, which is amazingly nutrient deficient, very ancient landscape, no volcanic activity for probably millions of years, certainly hundreds of thousands. The soil is very poor, which means the plants are very poor in nutrients, which means efficiency is of the essence. And that's why so many things in Australia hop. And by the same token, something like this creature here is very small and therefore needs to conserve energy as much as possible, either by eating a fantastic amount and scurrying around at a great speed like a rodent, or by moving incredibly efficiently and sleeping most of the day, which is exactly what this thing does. Look at that tail. This is an impressive tail. So much so that if I didn't know better, I'd say this was the thick-tailed bush baby, but it isn't. It is the lesser bush baby, or galago. That's 2 fantastic bush baby sightings in 2 days. And Vicky, you're just agreeing with me. And like you say, normally just a blur in a tree. But today and yesterday evening, we've had 4 incredible bush babies in full view. Thank you, Viam. Well done. Good job. No stars, well, 1 or 2 stars tonight, but nothing particularly spectacular. This front that battered the Cape yesterday has come over the top of us. It's not cold. I mean, I've got a jacket on, but that's just a little bit of a covering on my skin. It's certainly not cold. Is it, Viam? Viam's lost his jacket, so you better hope it doesn't get too cold. Poor Viam. Righty, we're going down through a drainage line called the Molwanini, and that's between Cheetah Plains and Djuma, so we might lose you briefly, but we'll pick you up the other side again. Why are we doing that? Why not look at some lions?
Let's say, just wrap up the sighting here, and then if you could you please switch to James? We are still with the male lions here, and they took about, as I said, 50 meters, and then they sat back down. So they are still clearly quite tired, and I thought they would get up and start moving again. But it seems that they're not that interested in moving. But I hear that you've had an amazing sighting of a bush baby.
Maybe not.
Sorry everybody, there's a white-tailed mongoose. We haven't gone through the drainage line yet, but we don't often see them. But there he is. That's the biggest mongoose that we get here. Might be the biggest anywhere, actually. And so named for his white tail. He's going to pounce, he's going to pounce. Either that or he's having a poo. What do you think? I think he is actually looking for something to eat. Oh, maybe a rodent. Or perhaps he's just looking at those insects that are flying above his head. He would happily eat those. That's a male, clearly. That's interesting. I've never seen that before. I think possibly that redness behind him is part of his anal gland. Very important part of the way these animals mark their territories is with that anal gland. I'm sure that's what that is. This is a wonderful sighting of a white-tailed mongoose. Wow, that was brilliant. Let's go back to the lions.
So we are sitting with the lions, and I actually need to make my way away from the sighting because there's another vehicle that would like to make its way. But I'm actually cornered in by these young male lions. So all we can do is appreciate their beauty for a couple more seconds, and hopefully they'll get up and show us that beautiful mane that they have. But you can see that mane, that backlighting of that. The backlighting of that mane, it's incredible. That's amazing. There we go, he's up. He's gonna have a little scratch. Look at that backlighting. If you want to have a screenshot, go for it, because that, I'll tell you now, I'd be taking screenshots. Look at that, that is awesome. Wow, look at that. Look at them stretch. I think it's time. Here they go. There goes the first one, straight into the bushes. Here comes the second one. Look at the backlighting on this one as it comes. Wow. There it goes. There, look at that. That's incredible. Look at that. The mane in that light is great. So there goes 3 of the Birmingham boys. Okay, station. I need to get out of the sighting because I've had my time here. So I'm just going to leave. Awesome. I'm going to be leaving the sighting. Cool. Okay. What's the next road down there? Cheetah cut line. Yeah. Alright, thank you, bud. We've had such a great afternoon with the Birmingham boys. What is most likely going to happen now is they're going to head in a northerly direction towards Cheetah cut line, where we're probably going to lose them into Torchwood. But what a fantastic thing that we were able to sit with them just towards the end of their time here on our property. So we're going to leave that. I just need to let everyone know that we're leaving the sighting. Stations, I'll be making my way to Cheetah cut line and then heading in a southerly direction. I won't be following up on the lines, but I'll see if I see them. Alright, that was that. That's a wrap, everyone. Great sighting of those lines. How was that backlighting that was on them? Incredible. I hope you guys managed to get some good screenshots. I think everyone's... I think it's Ashley from Missouri. Sorry, I can't quite... Yeah, so I got that right. You're asking Ashley what we do afterwards when we get back from camp. Actually, we often talk about the sightings and we talk about all the different things that we saw, and we sometimes try not to talk too much about work because it's the one opportunity that we get to relax in the evening. So we sit down, have supper, and we just have a good chat with everyone. And there's about 20 of us in camp. At any given time, it changes between less than 20 and above 20. And it's really exciting. We always have good, interesting chats. It's always great. always a lot of humor in the evenings, actually. I was very intimidated when I first came because, you know, have you ever had that feeling when you go into a new place and it's a whole bunch of new people and it's a new environment? And, yeah, but it's not intimidating once you're there for about 5 hours. Everyone in camp is very, very, very nice. All the ladies are very sweet, and James and Jamie and Brent and the cameraman have helped me so much with my training, and well, not my training, I haven't been training, but I've just, in terms of being a presenter, I don't really know what that's like until I've just done it now. So I've managed to relax a lot because of all the great people in camp. Alright, so we are on Cheetah cut line. Lucy in, I think it's South Bend, Louisiana. Indiana. So I've actually got a new earpiece this evening because my other one, oh cool, is that an owl? We just saw something fly ahead of us. I just want to see if we can spot it. I'll come back to your question now, but I really want to see what that was. So I think that was an owl that just jumped through. Not jumped through, flew through. Didn't quite see it, but the lines are walking at the moment parallel to us, somewhere through the thick bush here, so we very well might see them pop through. If we do, we're very lucky, but at this point, I highly doubt it. But just going back to your question about what is our closest town to this area, and the closest town that we have is about an hour and a half away, and it's called Hoedspruit. It's not a very, well, I don't know it very well. I've actually only driven through it on my way from Cape Town. So I'm from Cape Town, which is, if you had to drive to Cape Town, it would probably take you about 3 days to get there. So I'm very far away from this area. So I don't know Hoedspruit at all, but I just know that it's a good, convenient place to get all the different things that you need. Otherwise, I spend all my time here, which is exciting. But I haven't seen a bush baby yet. I would love to see a bush baby. So that means me paying attention to the bush around us. And we need to pay attention. Edwin, a new viewer. It's always exciting to hear that a new viewer is online. And you asking, where are we filming from, Edwin? We are filming from a Djuma game reserve in the Sabi Sands, which is in the northeast of southern Africa. The Sabi Sands is 60,000 hectares big, and we are currently traversing on about 1,000 hectares, Djuma. We also have the ability to traverse on Cheetah Plains and Arathusa. So I'll say it again, we are in the northeastern part of southern Africa, home to the savannah. So we have 9 different biomes in South Africa, which is incredible. That means that we have an unbelievably biologically diverse country. So where I live in Cape Town is fynbos, beautiful fynbos plants, which are succulents, home to the Cape sugarbird and many, many other sunbirds. Outside my room in Cape Town, I listen to the sound of those sunbirds and I love it. But the other biomes are all incredibly rich. We have the Karoo biome. The succulent Karoo is where I lived for a couple months, working for the Cape Leopard Trust, looking for Cape leopards and looking for caracals. Have you ever heard of a caracal? It is my favorite cat, and I've never seen it before. I've once gone looking for cubs of the caracal, but never have I seen the caracal, and hopefully one day I'll be given that opportunity. But you also get the forest biome, and the great karoo, many different types of biomes. There's also a place called Otaniqua, which is home to, or otherwise known as Knysna, and they get Knysna elephants there that live in the forests around Knysna, which is on the coastline of South Africa, on the east coastline. But South Africa is an incredibly biodiverse area, and if you're looking to come and travel here one day, I highly recommend it, as you'll meet a whole bunch of different cultures, you'll meet new landscapes that will show you a different side to them, and so you'll have a great time. But with that, it's been a fantastic day, and we've had such a great time, Dave, watching those Birmingham boys for the last 4 days. I'll be surprised if we see them again. Thank you, Kirsten. And we'll see you all for the rest of this week. Myself and James will be going every single day, twice a day for the next week. And so I'll be seeing lots of you. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your evening.
I was trying to do a start in the darkness, but I became afraid that I was going to drive into something, so I turned the lights on. Liam also became afraid that I was going to drive into something and whack him over the top of the head, which is a very valid fear. Get out of the way. That is a striped thickney, everyone. And it has very clearly got a death wish of some sort, flying off in front of us. I don't want to shine the light on him, you see, because I think he'll struggle to land, but there we go. Donna, you want me to do an imitation of a bush baby? Bush babies don't say anything, Donna, the lesser bush baby, but the thick-tailed bush baby, Donna, makes a blood-curdling scream. It goes, I'm not sure I can do this. Turn the sound down, Liam. I'll cover my microphone. It goes, ah! Ah! Other coughing bit. That's exactly what it sounds like. It's a horrendous, horrendous noise. How many out of 10, Kirsten? She gave me 5.5 out of 10. She, of course, has never heard a thick-tailed bush baby, so she doesn't know what she's talking about.
I would give it at least 8.
Thank you very much, Liam. Liam gives me 8. If you don't know what the sound is, and you're sitting peacefully having an evening snifter as the stars sort of emerge into the inky sky, and you suddenly hear that thing screaming above your head in the roof, it is, well, it's terrifying. You're likely to say a bad word and throw your drink up suddenly. Oh, listen. It's in this tree. There's a Scops owl in this tree. I've yet to see one here. Oh, it's right here. They're so difficult to see, so camouflaged. Let me go back a little. He's right here. We've got 2 minutes to spot him, everyone. Let me just turn this light on to here. Oh, come on, you're right in this tree. I can't see him, everyone. And you hear the two of them. Boop, boop. Slightly different tone. No. Niggies. No, he's in the deep, thick foliage there, I'm afraid. Anyway, lovely to hear him call like that. We've only got a minute left, everyone, so let's just sit here and just recap what has been a spectacular, spectacular day of little baby leopards. The Queen has brought her prince and princess onto Djuma, and I hope they're going to stay here for a good long time and that we will watch them grow with the joy that they gave us today. And of course, the other thing we did today was go to Cheetah Plains and show Viam Cheetah Plains. You enjoyed it, did you, Viam?
Yes.
Did you think it was the most amazing thing you've ever done? Almost. Well, that's pretty good. All right, everyone, we've got about 25 seconds left. I hope that you are happy and safe wherever you are. Thank you for talking to us for the course of the afternoon. It was wonderful to have you along for a real adventure today. Big thanks to Viam, big thanks to Kirsten and Louise in the final control, and of course to Samwise Gamgee and the erstwhile David. We will see you tomorrow at 0600. Bye-bye.